we with a team of SoilWise brought together a little team of our different partners. I'm myself, I'm Max Vercruyssen. I'm working with the Flemish Government, and I'm a use case lead for the LivingLabs here. In our team, I took with me today Radu, Valeh, and Thomas, who will bring each another story of how to find public data sets. And actually, after you measured your soil correctly, as Marit already explained very good, what should you do with it to have like a meaningful impact and to go further than that? In the meantime, I will repost Menti link here as well for the latecomers. You can start with the first question, and later on I will come back for the other questions. Radu, you can go on.
All right, thanks, Max. Hello, everybody. I'm Radu Giurgiu from ILVO, from the Flanders Research Institute, Agriculture, Fisheries and Food. And I'm the project coordinator of SoilWise. And today I have the pleasure to briefly introduce the project to you. So I'll start with the state of the soils in Europe. As you know, more than 60% of the soils are considered degraded. And according to the European Commission, this results in a very high cost to the European Commission. So around 50 billion euro it costs per year. And the European Mission Soil Deal for Europe has the great ambition to reverse this trend and make the soils healthy in relatively short term. And for this, they're investing a lot of money in the LivingLabs and lighthouses, and also in the research and innovation projects. So this is very ambitious, but it's still very challenging. And why is it challenging? Because the soil data and knowledge is involving a lot of moving parts. I think a lot of people here know that soil data is very difficult to find, to access, to use. A lot of projects finish and then their websites disappear alongside with a lot of data and knowledge. Also, there are not many standards or shared vocabularies across projects, so the data is not interoperable. So this creates a lot of friction in collaboration at the European level. And data is not standardized or annotated. It cannot link with EU tools like EUSO or SoilWise. So there are a lot of challenges, even if a lot of investment is done in order to improve the soil health in Europe. And here is where SoilWise tried to fill in this gap. So SoilWise is a Horizon Europe project in the Soil Mission framework. It started in September 2023 for 4 years as a budget of 6 million euro with 15 project partners from 9 countries. And the main aim is to develop, test, and deliver a prototype for long-term soil knowledge and data repository. And this software platform aims to become part of the European Soil Observatory by the end of the project. So we're working very closely with the JRC. And just to give you a bit of idea how the project works and it's structured, we are doing 3, let's say, main iterations of 3 cycles of development, and each cycle has 4 phases that repeat in every cycle. So the first phase is the co-design phase. In this phase, we are gathering the requirements and needs from different users, and these are transformed into technical requirements that are then fed to the development team, which uses this to develop different functionalities of the repository. And after this step, we move to the integration and validation, where all these components are brought together and they are validated with users and stakeholders, and further improvements are done in this phase. And then we have the demonstration phase, where we try to get to larger audience for each stakeholder and each target group, and to show how the repository works and what's the added value for the users. And critically and importantly, also in this phase, we are gathering more requirements and needs from the users that are then feeding in the next co-design cycle. So you have to imagine that after each development cycle, the platform becomes more technologically mature and more valuable for the users. And right now we are in the middle of the second co-design phase, so in the beginning of on the second cycle of development. And our work starts and ends with users. We are positioned in a way that we work with all the mission soil projects, so we get their requirements, but also give guidelines to them how they can best publish the data. This is also done via the mission soil cluster on knowledge and data management that we co-lead together with JRC. As I said, we work closely with the European Commission, with the JRC and DG Agri, DG ENF. We have frequent meetings and working groups with them. And we also have the target groups, the user cases, researchers from the Mission Soil projects, and not only. And LivingLabs are one of the main groups. And these are also important because they are both data providers and data users. So we work with them as users on the both ways. And what we produce until now is the SoilWise metadata catalog, Soil Companion, which is a prototype of a LLM chatbot that is built on top of the repository, and the fairness strategy for data and knowledge. And if you want to see more, you'll see later on my colleagues present, but you can also go to the links provided here. You can test the repository, and we also have there a function to provide feedback, so that's very welcome. And you can see other demonstration events if you go to the website, and you can find demonstration for example, farmers or for researchers or other target groups. You can also find there all the technical information if you want to go into the details of what's been developed. Here you can see what are the repositories that we are currently harvesting. If you think there are other repositories that are very meaningful to you, or you think that we would get their important data or knowledge, please also mention that to us to take it in account. And as I said, the Mission Soil projects and the LivingLabs we are working together with them, and we see them as data providers and data users. Basically, the project results, whether data sets or intangible knowledge items, it can be training or any other type of document or publication, needs to be published in a persistent repository that's harvested by SoilWise, following specific guidelines for making the results fair. And this will then find their way into the metadata repository. But we're also working with you as data users to understand what do you need in terms of data and knowledge in soil, and try to develop functionalities that respond to those needs. And to be clear, we want to provide a single access point to soil data and knowledge, to not have this fragmentation and difficulty to find and access it. We want to index available data and knowledge, but will not store it. We'll only include the metadata of the data there. We're going to connect with existing catalogs also developed by the projects. And in the end, we really want to make the life of data providers and data users easier through this repository. So we really need your help to understand what are the needs to get to this objective. And what we want to be clear is that we will not copy or store third-party data, will not control the data. We're very agnostic to the quality of the data you're publishing. We're not going to steal it, and we're not going to use it without consent. So you should not have any concerns from this point of view. And it's very important for us, cooperation with you, with the Mission Soil projects, and with all the stakeholders, because we can develop the most innovative AI-driven platform ever if we don't have a close collaboration with the users, and also show what is the benefit from all the stakeholders. This objective will not be reached. So we really rely on very good collaboration and communication and frequent interaction, and we're very happy to have this opportunity in this soil training session to present a bit what we are doing, and hopefully This is the first stepping stone to work together closely and achieve this ambitious objective to transform the degraded soils into healthy soils again in Europe. Thank you. I will stop sharing to give the floor to Valeh.
Yeah, thank you. I will share the screen. You see my screen now, right?
Yes, perfect.
Nice. Hi, everybody. My name is Valeh Khaledi. I'm working in SOILL, Agricultural Research Center in Germany. And today I will be talking about how we can use SoilWise for research in one example. So, yeah, we want to see SoilWise as a powerful interface that connects to different repositories across Europe that helps to find easily and access the data for soil and agricultural research. And this will be through one example of one of the repositories and on having access to long-term experiments. But first, let's see what we mean by LTE or long-term experiments. The long-term experiments are structured trials that conducts over many years and making them one of the most reliable and consistent source of information source for soil and agricultural data. And they include the soil type, soil texture, and information about the management practices, crop rotation, and they are very diverse and long-running. Therefore, they are very good sources for modeling and analyzing and decision-making across science and agriculture. And here you see the long-term experiments across Europe that is shown. Yeah, SoilWise harvests data from several repositories. As you see here, the list of repositories that we can have access through SoilWise. Bonares is one of the repositories that is developed by ZALF since 2015. Bonares include over 2,000 data sets, a very diverse number of soil and agricultural data, and an important amount of these data sets are the long-term experiment or the LTEs. And in these pictures in the left side hand, you see the pictures of two long-term experiments, and the DOIs are there as well. To show how this data is reusable, I am referring to three publications here that they use long-term experiments data, and I'm, as an agroecosystem modeler, referring to the modeling, the biogeochemical modeling study, because it is very demanding and complicated and problematic usually to have access to full range of that data that we need to calibrate and validate our models, and we usually stuck with searching through papers or individual data owner. But we show here with the structural LTE in Bonares, which we have access through SoilWise, it's very easy and feasible to carry out this kind of research. So we go step by step. If you open the SoilWise catalog, you see there is a search bar, and there are different keywords that facilitate your research. The study that I mentioned was long-term experiment in Germany. So if we put down the long-term experiment Germany and we look for it, we end up in this page with 279 results. In the left side hand, you see there is kind of a map, which the spatial filter is activated, and there you can choose which area is your focus. Therefore, you can get access to the data for the area that is your target. And there is another option called facets, which give us the filter by different category like soil type, crop management, and many more on this table you can see. So it makes it easier for you to filter and get the input that you want accordingly. So going back to the long-term experiment, we choose select one of these, which is related to the paper that I mentioned, and then we select the link to go to the Bonares repository. This page is the overview of long-term field experiment over the world, which is the Bonares website. And since our target was Germany, so we write Germany, ending up to 276 experiments. And on the right side, you see that we can also download the metadata. If we scroll down, we see the published article according to this dataset and also the availability of data we can select. I have to emphasize that this platform is not the same as SoilWise. It's just SoilWise give us the access to the repositories like this Bonares. So if we press the link that I highlighted in the previous slide, we end up in this page with information for the data. So we want to download the data. We press the download and we can select which data we want to have. Sometimes we have more options. This case is just one. So then we can put our email address in the part that is mentioned in the picture, and then we download. After all, we receive an email similar to the screenshot that you can see. And if we press this link, we will receive a zip file containing the data in any format that it is. This example was CSV file, and this screenshot that you can see is a part of the data that was used in the mentioned study. And since we have the coordinates for this data, we can also get access to the remote sensing data. In case some part of the input we like, we can access it through remote sensing. And here we see an overview of the basic flow for modeling study. We can see that we ending up from SoilWise to the Bonares repository, so that's the data, and then using it in the specific model in this study done by Donmaz et al., my colleague here at SOLV, and then doing the rest of the step for the study, which is out of the time frame for this presentation. And here we see the list of the input that was used for this study, like the land use, farming category, duration, type of farming, conventional or organic, all can be found from this LTE data set. And now if we flip the coin and see, okay, we had access to the data set, what about the published work? Either we can also see the published work from SoilWise or not. So we can choose the publication keyword, for example, here, and then we write down simply the name of the author, and then we find the link, and then the DOI leads us to the paper that we mentioned in the beginning, which this tells us that SoilWise also support data to knowledge transparency, giving the visibility both to data and to the knowledge research based on it. In a nutshell, we can say that the SoilWise is a practical entry point for accessing well-structured data from multiple repositories. Bonares and LTE was one of the examples. Similar workflows are possible with other sources as well, which you can later on check. And the structure and richness and reusability of this dataset help to bridge the data to knowledge and support better decisions in science and agriculture policies. Thank you. I can stop my share, and yeah, Thomas.
Yes, function buttons. Thanks, Valeh, for this explanation of how you used the SoilWise repository in your work here. I see a lot of people have already found the way to the Mentimeter, so that's a good thing. And maybe you also found the way to our SoilWise Hub through the link in the chat here, because we had some questions for you here as well about the SoilWise repository and how you want to interact with it. And I see people already found these questions here as well, and just wanted to see, like, if you enter the repository, we are looking into like how you want to find different data sets and different knowledge sets here. And it's good to see that there is some engagement here. And then, okay, on type of results is quite important. Apparently, that's a nice and we already have a filter on that one. In the meantime, if you answered it, don't hesitate to go to the next question. It's an open question about what you want to add eventually to the options. And I see, type was already one of we had, and then most relevant. But if you could elaborate a little bit on the most relevant one, what you see as the most relevant one, maybe in the chat, leave your comments there as well. Type on here is also a favorite one. It's good to see that everyone found the Menti. Keep going on also on the next questions. We keep the Menti open if you want to answer later. Okay, the spatial filtering is also a clear option that people want to search on. I imagine if I'm right, that you want to search for a very specific plot maybe in there. Otherwise, there is also an open question after this one. If it's something else and we have some wrong assumptions, you can leave it there as well. Maybe this wasn't very clear from the first presentation about what this question would be, but if you open one of the items, we now have a little bit of information with keywords and links, and if there is spatial information, we will also have a map on this page. What would you expect to find here? What do you want to see or more if you're looking further in these questions? That is what we would like to know here with this extra information question. Either no one found this question yet, or you don't need more information, and we already have everything. That's also good. This is 2 questions, and then we see that this could be a different answer depending on your searching knowledge or the data sets. So we're very curious about if there is a difference in how you would see yourself searching for different items inside the repository of SoilWise at this point. We have the option at this point to have the catalog. We're working and looking into the possibilities to have a chatbot kind of interface. Maybe you have seen other great examples of other catalogs or similar finding places where you could find these kind of assets, and we're also eager to learn from you guys what you find reliable and easy to use on this one. So quite interesting to see what you're answering here for. And then I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and give the floor to Thomas to start the next part. But in the meantime, you can still answer the questions, and so keep doing.
There. Yeah, thank you. My name is Tomáš Pavelka. I'm from Masaryk University. in Czech Republic, and my part in SoilWise is on the fairness guidelines and fairness strategy. I hope you can see my screen now. Good. Basically, what fair data and or fairness is about is that the data and knowledge should be findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Many of you probably know some of these principles, maybe you don't, and some of you, I hope, or hopefully, are already publishing the data or knowledge in FAIR principles. So in my part, in a few minutes, I will try to explain the basics and with some examples on how to do it. Because as is mentioned on the slide, FAIR is not just about storing the data, it's about making sure what we have created can live on and can be used and can be accessible in the future as well. There, first letter or first principle is on the findability, meaning that the data and knowledge should be easy to find for both humans and machines, mainly by using unique identifiers and rich metadata. Also, what I should mention is that these principles are quite a wide topic, depending on the data type and some specifications. So this is very brief go through the principles. But what is quite universal is that if you want to make your data and knowledge findable in a long term, then you should select some trustworthy repository. Trustworthy, there are several definitions. Some of them are quite unclear, to be honest. But what it means mostly is you should select some repository that is persistent. On re3data.org, which is the registry of research repositories, you can find some recommended repositories. Technically, it can be your institutional repository, but you should have in mind that if you save your data somewhere, it should be persistent in next 5, 10, 20 years. Because in many cases, within the projects, there is in grant agreement something like we will store the data or our website or something for the next 5 years after the project ends, and then the information and the data are lost basically, or somewhere on the hard drives of the researchers, which is not very interoperable. I think you understand. So it's good to select some persistent repository and to have it in mind also from the beginning of your projects or of your LivingLabs. Quite a good option is to publish data on Zenodo. Yeah, and also you can, if you choose to publish data on Zenodo, it's good to create also something called Zenodo community. Basically, what it means is that several people might publish the data separately, and then it can be connected to the Zenodo community, the community of your LivingLab, let's say, and everything can be findable under the umbrella of the LivingLab or the project or institution or something. The data might be in several communities, actually. And what is also important to have in mind is to use the persistent identification, meaning if you publish one data set on several repositories, make sure, if it is possible, to use the same identification for all the data sets, if it's one data set, basically. Because then what happens is that there are some duplicities. Then one data set has several IDs or DOIs, and it's the findability is not that that good in that case, because it's confusing, and it's not very good culture in the data universe. On the right side, there is also a list of harvested repositories that are at this moment harvested through the SoilWise catalog. From my information, this list is not complete yet, because we are in the first half of the project. So this list might be extended in the future. The second principle is on the accessibility, because when you publish your data to some repository, it's always good if it's accessible somehow. So once found, assets should be retrieved through standardized and open protocols with clear access conditions. There is a good note that try to be as open as possible and as closed as necessary, meaning that at least from my experience, open data are always better for the community, and can be used in much broader sense. But I understand that not all the data can be open for many reasons. And what is also good to mention is that fair doesn't mean open in this sense. You can publish even to some repositories. You can publish also sensitive data, but they can be still findable through the metadata, because metadata and data themselves might have different access conditions. So you can publish something, let's say to Zenodo. You can say, hey, this is the data set from with this date and with this abstract and containing this kind of information. But to access the data set itself, you should, for example, register on our website, or you should contact our data provider, or it's completely sensitive, but it still can be findable through the metadata. So the access conditions should be there also somehow identified, but access doesn't mean that it should be necessarily open. Interoperability is quite a tricky one, I would say, because it's always a struggle. It's good to use standardized formats, vocabularies, and ontologies, so it can be integrated with other data and tools. When thinking about interoperability, it's good to think about something called the data lifecycle, meaning that if you collect the data somehow, as we saw in the first presentation, for example, for some measurements and some sampling, it's good to have in mind that this data will be probably somehow processed. Somebody will analyze it, publish it, visualize it. So it's good to have in mind that the formats should follow these later processing in the future. I'm not that familiar with all the data formats within the pedology and then sampling and these kind of things. But so there might be some proprietary tools and softwares, but it's always good to save the data also in, for example, CSV or GeoPackage or XML, some standardized formats, because then it's not depending on the software, which is good if you want to share the data with other LivingLabs or the rest of the world, or even with, let's say, future yourself, because then some softwares might change the formats, and if you have the data saved in an interoperable format, you can use it better and easily. So it's good to have this in mind. Even Word and Excel are actually not open formats because you need to buy them, and it's always good to save Excel in some other format actually. And the second thing connected to interoperability is the vocabularies. It's recommended not to create your own vocabulary if you don't have to. So it's always better to use something like AgroVoc or Gemet or Inspire or something else. Also, for example, units are very well standardized. And then if you use some terms or some methodologies, it's good to indicate them through some standardized vocabularies so others can know, or others will know what you used basically, and it's better for common understanding. Also, they are usually multilingual. So if I will collect some data in Czech Republic and I will not use the common vocabulary, but I will call it somehow in Czech, it's not very useful for others outside of Czech Republic. Yeah. So this one, and then reusability is connected mostly or mainly with licensing, because you can create some data, you can make them accessible, even interoperable. But if you will not select some license, people will not know if they can actually use it or not. So it's always important to also state the license. Again, to repeat myself, fair doesn't mean open. It doesn't mean that it should be necessarily open or without some license, but it's important to state it. What is good to recommend, or what I can recommend, is to use the Creative Commons or MIT licenses for software. There are many licenses and many different licensing, but easiest way is to create the to choose the Creative Commons and also indicate the methodology and such. Yeah, to summarize some metadata management, I've mentioned most of these already, but I've used the word metadata many times because everything is connected. Every part of this principles is connected with the metadata and to indicate it there. So be sure to fill as much metadata as possible. Yeah, and some benefits of the fair that it's for better transparency, for better collaboration, efficiency and impact, which is good to have in if we want to collaborate and yeah, if we want to make things better with others as well. Thank you. I will stop sharing. Max, you are muted, probably. Yeah.
Okay, my screen is shared. I think after this explanation of the FAIR principles, quite interesting to know from you guys what you think like the most, the hard part about the FAIR principles are. Do you think making your own data set findable is hard? Apparently, the A and the I, the interoperable and accessible, also are as some difficulties. I don't know if everyone got it right. I could follow all the things, and or it maybe FAIR isn't that common known. I'm curious because this is quite interesting for the SoilWise project in its whole, because we have we are now at this point focusing very on the F and the A, with the catalog to have it findable and to have access to different data sets. But yeah, might be interesting to look at that whole picture here as well, depending on your answers. And oh, okay, yeah, this this is also a very typical one that we might not expect. That yeah, no one knows what the vocabularies are and glossaries are and code lists. And so I hope Thomas's explanation is here already a little bit enlightening to encourage you to use these kind of things because the next person will work with these kind of with your data sets. Will need your definition of what you measured with it. So it's good to see that we also, as a SOIL community, need some efforts in having this this message out to have a complete fair. And here, yeah, of course, it's known. In here, you can combine with the slicers, like if it can be 0. Apparently, if you don't use vocabularies, it might be that you don't spend any time on standardizing your data set and just publish it as you get. That's definitely fair. But we also wanted to have an indication on, like, if you're before you're publishing your data set, are you doing, apparently someone is at least doing 1 month of work before it can send out. And because inside SoilWise, this could also be one of the things to take on to minimize these times. And if you yourself have some tools, please leave them, because this is going to be homework for everyone. We brought together a few links that are very interesting to look into. Don't do it before don't do it like the month before you're making your data set. Do it at the beginning of your project. Because if you take a good start with these FAIR principles in mind, you're gonna have, it's gonna be easier through the whole process of keeping your data sets tidy and interoperable also inside your organization. And go look into the links, they're quite useful. Also tools for transformation. We inside our consortium, there is also the Hail people for transformation. There are a few vocabulary tools, and also the geo package that's created by Trea at this point, inside the EGP period. They made an Inspire compliant data format for all your measurements, and have them in a format that, if you use it, you can open it in your data DB Beaver or any data visualization program, or your QGIS format. They have this QGIS template inside their GitHub page. The link is in the slides, so afterwards we will share them definitely. But it's quite useful. And I wanted to end with maybe a link to the beginning to Marit's presentation. Like, there are different ways of having your information, like the human readable format you saw from Maritz. But we always see, like, there is the science, the superhuman readable part, the Excel with all just the numbers, and then you can crunch the numbers. It's already good. It's a little bit more machine readable, but don't hesitate to also ask for XMLs. They look quite scary, but they're they're a good format to have it machine readable, and it's one way is if you publish it together with your data set, the next person might be even can do it even better with interpretation of it. You see inside this XML, Eurofins already used a vocabulary, the CAS numbering. However, CAS is not specific for if it's inside soil or inside water. Use other vocabularies outside of it. Units of measurements are there. They have a method, but it's at this point it's Eurofins name only. Use also external references. And with this, I only want to say, like, we are here also for the LivingLabs. Please reach out, leave your feedback. If you're going inside our repositories, we're getting feedback that people can find an item, might not find their own data set. Please leave it in the feedback or through all the social channels that we have inside the project. A little bit fast, but I see we're going a little bit over time. Sorry, Soil people, but I hope I went through it in a quick hurry.
Thank you all for this session. I think we all learned a lot of things. So I just want to say just some closing words. First of all, as always, I would ask you to please give us any feedback. I already shared the link for that, but you will receive this link too in our follow-up email, and also a little bit of advertisement. I also send our link to our Soil Hub helpdesk. Feel free to use it, and I very much advise to use it because expert colleagues just waiting for your questions so we can help you all. And only one question because we ran out of time. If you have any questions to our experts, then feel free to reach out them. You already see that Maurich shared his availability where you can reach him, but you already see that Max is already gave you a lot of clues where you can contact them. So feel free to connect them, and I would urge you to ask any questions if something was missed or you like some tips or more information what you heard during this session. So thank you all for participating, and also for all the experts, thank you for delivering us this session, and I hope you all have a nice summer, rest of the summer. Thank you all for joining this session today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Balint. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.